Welcome back. And for our last panel of the day, we'll be talking a little bit about understanding ethical hacking and cybersecurity. I'm going to talk a little bit about the people, our panelists. First, our moderator, who is Ricardo Massis. He helps organizations across the region combat cybercrime. We also have Adriel Araujo, who's the founder of Metrics, combines hacker expertise and engineering talent to offer tailored cybersecurity solutions for startups, expanding services across 4 countries with a focus of simplifying compliance and cybersecurity of limitless growth. We also have Mitchell Weinstock, a partner at the HP Tech Ventures, drives strategic investments and partnerships with tech startups, leveraging deep expertise in emerging technologies and product marketing. We also have Dr. Jonathan Reichental. He is a tech business leader, founder of Human Future, contributing to education and vulnerabilities and ethical hacking roles in defense. Gain valuable insights to protect digital assets confidently. So we have from our intruders to defenders, understanding ethical hacking and cybersecurity. Please, a warm welcome.
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for coming to this cybersecurity panel discussion, a very important one. We're going to talk a lot of good topics aligned with business strategies in this case. In this interconnected world where digital technology is an integral part of our daily lives, the significance of cybersecurity are becoming or is a critical concern, no? It goes from safeguarding our personal data to protecting our critical infrastructure. And the challenges that we are facing are getting more sophisticated, evolving each day. Together, we aim to share you key insights, share you strategies to combat these cyber threats. So let's start. I would like to start, each one of you introduce yourself. How are you helping organizations nowadays, please?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for joining. I'm Adriel. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Metrics. I'm from Mendoza, a little town in Argentina. Basically, we started as hackers. We started not helping people to stay secure. And right now, we are in the right side. We help a lot of companies in Latin America, like Mercado Libre, Bitso, and big techies, and stay secure and protect themselves against cyber criminals.
My name is Mitchell Weinstock. I'm a venture partner at HP Tech Ventures. In the last 8 years, I've been doing corporate venture capital investing for that team. And unfortunately, I was the cybersecurity guy on the team because it was too complex for everybody else, so I wound up with that particular area. And you know, what HP is trying to do is figure out how to harden the products that we ship out into the marketplaces for people that actually don't have the time for that. And if you think about our commercial products, we're at the edge. Laptops, printers, this sort of thing. So I would be sourcing companies, early stage companies, that potentially can become commercial products within the HP family, either as a partnership or something that we would license or possibly sell tandem together. And my goal would be for twofer, like find a company we can do a commercial deal with and also be able to invest in them, and hopefully in the order which was invest first, because once you get a PO from HP, your valuation tends to go up, right?
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little while here at the end of the day. Great spirit. What do? I have fun. I just like to have fun. I'm doing what I want to do. I think you all should do what you want to do. Wake up and do the work that matters to you. Do work that makes a difference. Cybersecurity turns up all the time because as we become more digital and more connected, so do the vulnerabilities. And I help organizations with that, among many other things. So I'm happy to be here.
Perfect, thank you so much. Mitchell, how can you balance AI with cybersecurity for the enhance of growing of the organizations?
You know, one of the things that I think people got tired of is AV kind of solutions. You know, you get the semantic thing filled up on your machine, and you get your subscription, and every few weeks you have to go out and pull down some more antivirus pieces. So one of the things we looked for is finding companies that would be able to do zero-day ZTNA kind of stuff and be able to get ahead of that so you weren't constantly wondering whether you're going to be attacked. So one of the investments we did was with Deep Instinct out of Israel, is a good example of a company that used deep AI, and we actually commercialized that product, and it was a twofer. We were able to invest in them as well. So they used that kind of machine learning and AI to be able to go way beyond what we could do with antivirus in the past.
Okay, perfect. But that comes with a huge investment, I think so. So, Dr. Jonathan, how can the organization, so the team that is leading or doing this kind of cybersecurity inside of them, how can they go to senior management so they can access resource allocations?
Yeah. Well, let's quantify the problem. This is a sizable issue. That's why you guys are here, because it's such a serious issue. I mean, it's costing the world about $1 trillion a year in cost, right? If because of our unprotected systems or vulnerabilities. What does that translate? That's actually $3 million per minute, turns out, for organizations. If you get hacked, you're in big trouble, right? Not just through losing information, but you also might see, and you probably will see, some brand issues. People won't trust your products, right? So the question has to begin, we maybe are asking the wrong questions. What's the cost of doing nothing? Right? It's probably a lot more than the investments we need to make. So I think that when IT teams and other folks responsible for risk management, because it really is an all-hands risk issue, are trying to make the case, you have to quantify the problem from the perspective of having no protection or having little investment. So you start there. I think that's a really good starting point, right? Make the case. Like, we're not spending enough money. We have these vulnerabilities. I think the second point is, this is really important, because if you are part of a medium-sized or large organization, many people tackle the problem thinking that you have to protect everything, right? That, you know, if you have a computer system, you need to protect it. And the reality is, you need to make a decision based on the risk profile of everything. So some things you're going to put a lot of investment into because they are the most risky. And then there's going to be systems that, you know, it doesn't matter if they get hacked. Like the implications are pretty small. So this is what we call the risk-based approach to cybersecurity. It's not all about just investing across the board. The other thing, the last point, the third point on this question is turn it around so it's a positive thing, right? Well, you might notice some websites, some organizations on their marketing material says we're X compliant, you know. I don't know what the regulations are like in this region, in Guatemala stuff. I imagine there are regulations that organizations have to meet, or voluntary aspirations, voluntary actual targets. And if you meet those, if you actually make the investment in them, make that a marketing point, and you're now selling it. So while cybersecurity often is a cost that you have to invest in, there's some marketing dividend to it. If you say, we are a secure organization, we're compliant in X, Y, Z, these things. So that's another way that you can strengthen the argument when you need to raise more money.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jonathan. And Adriel, we have a lot of companies, we have startups to large business, but we live in a regulated world. We have GDPR, we have PCI, we have HIPAA. It depends on the industries that we are living, but how they can enhance them. How can they follow the steps and not go back?
Okay. Compliance is not security. Security is not compliance. One of the things are papers, and at the other, in the other front, you have controls. So in Latin America, if you want to comply with the main cybersecurity standard is ISO, you have to set up some policies. You have to train your people to understand what you are trying to do with those policies, and you have to control them day by day, because they will not comply with what you are trying to do with your organization. So if you are a startup or SMB, you have to try to monitor what your people is doing. It's like in your house. You have a dog, you have keys, and you have a camera. But if your kids don't know how to use the camera, if your kids are not, giving food to the dog will not. I know how to say it in a good way. Basically, if your kids are not complying with your house rules, you will be not secure. It's the same in your company. You have, in a startup, you have kids. They don't know how to do security, so you have to train them. You have to be pushy about, guys, you have to do it. You have to install antivirus. If you receive a mail that says, guys, please, how you say, turn off the antivirus, you don't have to do it. So in startups, it's everything about training the people.
I'd like to make a point about that. So one of the biggest problems I've found working with startups is that you're working so hard to get an MVP out, you're working so hard to get that first round of funding, and you're just working on the features. And because of that, a lot of times you don't build cybersecurity in from the very beginning. And trying to jack it in after the product is finished and fooling around with the final code is just a terrible way to leave holes that will eventually destroy you. And doing the vetting of that up front and making sure you're clean as you're building the product from the very beginning is like job number one. And it's something I find all the time that startups just leave to the end, and it's a mistake.
I don't think that I agree with that. Because if you have a product that you send to the market and you have zero revenue, maybe it's better to invest in marketing, try to find product market fit faster, and if you have some customers, the risk of losing, I don't know, maybe $100 is cheaper than investing $5,000 in a security company like Hackmetrics.
Yeah, but you're exposing all your customers to your bad work.
How many? It's like he says, it's something about risk. If you have, I don't know, maybe 10 customers, final customers, end user.
If you have 10 customers, you have a different problem.
Maybe they have the same password for Tinder, Bumble, and your platform, so it's the same risk.
Comments?
But I think people, us, we are the biggest problem in the cyber threat environment. How many of here, you guys, when you receive an email, you verify from where it came, or you just open it? Who wins a car? No? So, Dr. Jonathan, I think a security awareness program inside every organization, how Adriel told, how you, Mitchell, told, it's really efficient, but how can they approach for it?
Yes. Well, I'll ask some questions too, because I like that. We'll get people engaged here. Who backs up everything, all your digital devices every day? Right? Nobody here. Okay, once a week. Let's do once a week. Yeah, you do okay. It's always embarrassing. I do this with a lot of executives, and they don't want to say because they don't actually back up anything. Do you back up once a month? Right? Okay, a few of you. Okay, I don't know what the heck the rest of you are doing, right? The best recovery from a hack is to have a really good backup, right? The worst time to want a backup is after the hack, right? You'll say, oh, I should have backed up this morning. So, look, one of my messages for you guys before that you take away from me in this session is have some sort of backup schedule. Like a lot of backup software is free. It's not a cost thing anymore, right? Determine whether you want to back up your phone regularly. Your smartphone should be backed up. Your laptop. If you save stuff to the cloud, your assumption is that the cloud provider is backing it up for you, and when you need it, they'll have it for you. Don't make that assumption. Back up your cloud stuff too, if it's really important to you. So that's a bit of training for this room, but all our organizations need to do that. We need to have basic skills in how to limit the risk, recover from issues. Ransomware is one of the biggest issues. It's among the top 3 biggest issues that organizations suffer from. One of the best ways to recover is to have really good backups, right? Because then you don't have to rely. If you have wedding pictures, like pictures you really love on your laptop, and you get ransomware and they want $100,000 in Bitcoin, you don't have to pay it if you have a good backup, right? Okay, so that's my little speech here. I got a few more comments I want to make on this. Because I think we have time. Training. Look, it's amazing that organizations aren't training their people in cybersecurity skills, even basic skills. It's amazing. It's like reading or writing in an enterprise. Like we live in a digital world, a hyper-connected world. this is a big gap if you're not being trained. You don't need to put up your hand for this one, but if you are part of an organization and you haven't gone through in the last 12 months cybersecurity training, that's a real gap and that's a real risk. So I challenge your organization why that's not happening. Humans are the weakest link in all this, right? You could spend hundreds of millions. That was my first question. God, how do you make the case for investment? You could spend millions of dollars, but if someone calls a person at a business and says, hey, this is the IT help desk, I need your password, some people will actually give the password, and they get access to all the private information in the organization, depending on who it is. So one of the ways in which we test people is through social engineering tests, right? We'll call people. I don't know if you've had that experience. Anybody have that experience where an organization will call you, like a third party that's hired by the business to actually see if you'll give out your password? And every organization, you get a few people who do that, right? People should be trained to identify or trained to know when, if that type of question is asked, you never give out your password. By the way, just never give out your password. That's a good rule. Just have that rule. There's a couple of things that organizations can think about when it comes to the training. Well, it can be made a requirement of employment, right? Some organizations now in the US, when you accept the offer with a new job, you have to complete cybersecurity training before you get your email or your laptop. They make it a requirement to get on board. So you can think about that. Some places don't want to do that. There may be some other limitations that don't allow that to happen. It should happen regularly. People should start to take it for assume that they're going to have to do the training. I think the last point I would just make, and this is a weird one. I'm also a professor, so I work with, you teach all sorts of different types of people. People love certificates. People love to get a piece of paper from somebody with a signature that says, you have a professional certificate in big data or blockchain or cybersecurity. When you do your training, your cybersecurity training in your organization, give people certificates. And they will put them up, they will pin them into their cubicles, or put them into stuff in their, on the wall, so that they can show. People will even put them on LinkedIn or social media because it's a way of adding credibility to your skills. So some people I know are grinning because you might think it's a little bit hokey, but actually the data shows that it's really powerful.
I wanted to go back to something you raised. So for the people who said they only back up once a month, how many people here change your passwords at least every 3 months? Anybody? Okay, so I'm going to give you a hint for the rest of you. If you haven't done this, there's a guy named Troy Hunt. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a Microsoft security manager. And he has a site called I've Been Pawned. If you haven't done this, it's a wonderful exercise. Go to the I've Been Pawned site and put in all of the email addresses that you use. And every one of them that has been pasted to the dark web with your password, he'll send you a report every single time this happens. And all you have to do is, like, you get a report from Troy and look at the date of when your stuff was stolen, and you can look and see whether your password is exposed or you've changed it since that time. It should prompt you to immediately change your password as soon as you get one of his reports. It's a great thing to do. It'll scare the pants off of you if you haven't done it. A lot of people lose their passwords not because you passed it to somebody, but Wells Fargo lost their database with your stuff in it, and you had no control over that, and you better go change your password.
Perfect, perfect. You know that if we divide cybersecurity in 3 phases, detection, prevention, and response, being detection and prevention, how much can I protect my critical assets? But when you go to the recovery part, the one that you were saying, how fast can I recover is the biggest concern that you have today. So Adriel, how or what can you give to these people, to organizations, on creating a critical incident response plans about the backups and everything, based on your expertise?
Let's start from the beginning, trying to prevent the hack. I have to answer you a question. How many of you were working with his own computer connected with the network from the hotel? How many? If you want, no one. No one.
How many people connect your endpoints to the Wi-Fi?
Maybe your cell phone. Okay. Yeah, basically this morning with my co-founder, we did an exercise. We ran a scanner. So we found some devices that were allowing connections from external devices connected to the network. So it was so easy trying to hack people here. And maybe you have all your information in your computer or phones. Massage, you are disconnected.
I am seeing all the faces over here.
Turning off the Wi-Fi. So basically, we were trying to do something special for this talk. Basically, I have a video from the technical guys introducing the password on the screens from yesterday. So we have the password. If you want to connect to the screens, we have the password. We filmed the password. So if you want to prevent a hack, start from the beginning, trying to not being hacked. If you will be connected to public Wi-Fi networks, please configure. You have to configure your cell phone or computer. Trying to set up for how do you say in English? Not allowing external devices connect to your computer or cell phone. Start from the beginning. And what's this important? Because if you know where the information is, and you know what's your asset, what are your assets, when you have an incident, when you're hacked, you can track back the origin of the hack, so you can close the door and prevent of being hacked again and recover your business. This is the most important thing. You can write a really beautiful disaster recovery plan, but if you don't know where your systems are, if you don't know where your information is located, you will not be able to recover your company from a cyber attack.
And I will add something over there, based also what Dr. Jonathan told about ransomware being one of the most influenced attacks worldwide. If you are being encrypted, there's two ways to come back. The first one, paying, that will not assure yourself or the organization that you will get your information back. But the backups, and the recommendation is the 3-2-1 law, you should read it. But if you have the backups, you can delete whatever you want, whatever you have, and come back in a couple of weeks, couple of days, sorry, not a couple of weeks. You know that people notice that they are being attacked in 270 days, and they have to wait 70 days more to recover itself if they don't have an incident response plan. That's why think about it having in the organization. That makes almost 1 year from the attack. So, well, I think it should be a good way to start after this panel that we have over here. And yes, please go.
One funny thing is that the most common attack right now for startups and cloud companies is you will not receive a ransomware. You will receive a crypto miner, because is how you say, you can get more money. If you're a hacker, you can get more money, put in some crypto miner and getting Monero and Dash and Zcash from the customer, because they will be mining Bitcoin for you. If you get a ransomware, maybe you will have some friction, you will have troubles with the victim. So if you are a hacker, you prefer crypto miners. You have problem. Maybe they will. You will be consuming the perk that Amazon Web Services gives you, the 100K. So customers don't care because it's not their money. So Amazon will be paying you by Bitcoin.
Okay, perfect.
The other side of ransomware that they didn't discuss is it's not just the encryption. They may not care anymore, and they'll just post your materials live for anybody to get to. So paying the ransom and just getting out of the encryption, getting your stuff back, doesn't stop them from exfiltrating your data and putting it out in public, which is probably a much more horrible way to go.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, and there is where brand protection comes, no? On any other services. But I think that we are getting over time We have a couple of minutes, but Dr. Jonathan, I don't know if you want to say something before we finish our panel and give time to people to make questions.
No, let's have questions.
Okay, perfect. I don't know. We have 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
3 minutes. Who has a question?
Thank you. What should be the ethical hacker role in a financial institution? I mean, an ethical hacker should try to hack your system, or should try to prevent those hackings, or what should that role be?
When we started, we were not ethical, we were hackers. But that gives you the right point of view if you want to know where you can find open doors, because you have lateral thinking on how to steal things. So if you want to have a really good service in ethical hacking, you have to hire hackers, real hackers, not the ones that study networking and know how to run scanners. Real hacker is like a criminal. You want the asset. You need to capture that asset to be happy with your own work. So we have almost 20 hackers in the company, and all of them are happy of finding things that customers don't want to be exposed to, but they pay us for that.
Another question? Yes.
Hi. So, what's the difference between Apple systems might be, or there's no safer than other systems like Microsoft or other platforms?
I think iOS was the most hacked system in the past 3 years. iOS, Mac is about privacy, not security. So people think the privacy security, and it's a really different thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, generally Mac has got better points in terms of their protection. But I wouldn't measure your risk profile based on the system you buy. It's going to be measured on behavior, you know, the kind of smart moves you make, the services you use, the type of information that you store. I mean, you almost need to approach this topic with the mindset, like, where is the vulnerability? What is our level of risk to the organization I work for, the work that I do as an individual, and then sort of work from there. Largely, the digital world is sort of almost agnostic of hardware, right? He's from HP, but they're big in software. Or he was from HP, not anymore. But they recognize that too. It was the future is software, right? Software is eating the world. So that's where I'd really put the focus in the broadest sense, not just on the operating system, but the entire stack, right from data entry to the cloud and everything in between.
So you've got to do something controversial here. So to give you an example of the ways that HP thinks about it, in our printers, most printers, I don't know if you know, has an operating system. And we have something inside of them that has called control flow interface. If something jumps to a place it's not supposed to in that operating system, the printer assumes it's been hacked, and what it does is it goes to another golden master ROM that's hidden inside the printer. It overwrites the EEPROM, dumps the complete memory, and brings the whole thing back up from scratch, and it has a clean OS starting all over again. The end user will see it like, oh, the printer turned off for a second. I wonder what that was. And it just literally cleaned out all the registers because it thinks that something attacked the machine. So HP does some really interesting things at the firmware level, where if there's attacks, you have a clean starting point all the time. That's not an operating system per se, OS, Windows kind of thing, but various different hardware levels from different vendors, they really do spend some time in this area.
I should say we are used to hack a lot of systems through the printer. Yeah, because people buy the printer and connect the printer in the internet connection, and do nothing with the security controls. So we are used to hack systems
Just go right through the back door.
through the printer, the how you say that the turtle, the Cisco, voice IP turtle. Yeah.
We have, yes.
Hi, what would you comment on phishing or social engineering, in where not the big company's system is being hacked, but the people are being hacked, and it seems it's growing very fast in these countries?
I think you can answer that question better. Yeah. Basically, you will be, it will be a lot of hackers trying to hack your people. So you have to train people to not be the victim. Everything is about training. Yeah.
So one of the things HP set up for its employees, because you can't stop people from clicking on things. So what they did is they put something in place called Mimecast. And what Mimecast does is it kind of wiped out 90% of the phishes that come through, so you just don't get a chance to click on it. And it took the profile of all the mistakes down so far. Now I got to say, from an employee point of view, it was terrible because all kinds of mail wasn't coming in anymore that I needed, because it was going into this box that I had to go and unlock and find. But it really raised the consciousness of the company. And from the CSO's point of view, it's like he was really happy, even though we were having a really hard time finding the work that we had to do.
Another thing is you have to do security by layers. If your employee click on I don't know, maybe malicious software, maybe if you have an antivirus, the antivirus will will stop the virus of being installed in your software. Maybe one layer before you have Workspace and Microsoft Teams that has really good anti-phishing prevention software systems. Another way, if you have a zero-day vulnerability on your Windows or iOS, maybe the hacker will have the ability of staying in your computer. But if you have two-factor authenticators in all your cloud platforms, maybe the hacker will have your password, your password, because he has a keylogger, but he will not be able to connect to the cloud platform because he will need your phone. So you have to try to do security by layers.
Yeah. Another question? Well, time's up, but if anyone wants to, another question? If not, well, thank you so much for coming to this panel. Have a great day.